Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Lily, lived between rolling hills and dark forests. She was 5 years old, had big brown eyes and curly hair, all tied up with a bright red bow at the back of her head. She was a sign of innocence and pure joy. Lily loved stories, especially about adventures, magical creatures, but most of all, imaginary friends. Her parents, though busy and working hard to make ends meet, loved their daughter a great deal and often encouraged her active imagination. On one of those rainy afternoons, while playing in the puddles outside, Lily found an old, weathered tree just beyond her backyard. It towered above her with thick branches twisted and gnarled like skeletal fingers reaching toward the sky. Curious, she approached the tree and noticed a hollow in its trunk. Peering inside, she found a small, dusty wooden doll with a smiling face, dressed in a tattered dress coloured like the flowers of the season. She carried the doll home in her arms and, quite gleefully, introduced it into her host of dolls that jumped up and down, receiving their guest. That night, as the rain beat at her windows, she curled up with the blanket. Holding the doll tightly, she whispered,
"You can be my friend."
The new friend, whom Lily called Flora, soon started playing with her over the following days. Then it goes on and becomes a steady company in which she shares her dreams and secrets. A couple of weeks passed and the charm of Flora began to contort into something a bit more sinister. The innocent games became terrifying adventures, and with each new play session, a chill seemed to take root in Lily that would not shake loose, a constriction in the chest that leaned on her heart like an uninvited hand. Flora would insist on things that felt wrong, such as drawing on the walls with her red crayon because it was just painting. Flora said colours are memories and starts laughing, while Lily smeared the walls like some kind of artist lost into a violent frenzy. The laughter echoed through the empty hall, hilarious for a while, but a creeping dread began seeping into Lily's bones. It was later that night, on a very strange day, that Lily overheard her parents quarrelling in whispers. Her mother said,
"She is too young to have all these nightmares and those weird drawings. It's just horrific."
The father's reply was inaudible, but her imagination proved to her the anxiety in his tone. And at that moment, Lily gripped Flora's arm tighter. Flora starts whispering that,
"Don't worry, Lily. They cannot separate us."
As days went by and weeks came along, Lily grew more reclusive. Lily ignores her parents and spent hours playing and talking with Flora, her laughter less free-flowing. Her parents would ask the reason. They tried to intervene and ask her about Flora. But every time Lily tried to explain, a flicker of shade crossed her face like the veil someone makes over something dark.
"Flora is my friend. I am not to lose her."
She screamed out with an uncanny conviction which sent shivers down her parents' spines. Strange happenings seemed to ooze right into the house. Lily's toys start playing music and moving on their own at midnight. The light starts flickering at odd hours. Strange sounds would echo from the empty attic. Finally, on Halloween night, amidst the howling wind and swirling leaves, Lily made up her mind to confront Flora. The full moonlight shone elegantly through her window.
"I don't want to play anymore."
Lily declared, clutching the doll tightly.
"You are not nice. You're not my friend."
The casting moment left shadows in the room, and then there was Flora's voice, slinking in the air, sounding more menacing than before.
"You want to leave me? But I'm the one who brought joy into your life, who painted your world with colors. Without me, you'll just be as dull as the fallen leaves."
The walls began to close in around her as desperation clawed at Lily's throat. The figure of Flora began to warp, the face of the doll distorted into something monstrous, a grotesque parody of happiness.
You are mine, and I will never let you go.
Flora said, her voice echoing with the sound of many. With a surge of courage, Lily flung the wooden doll across the room. It hit the wall with a loud crack, falling to the floor. Flora's laughter turned into a cry, a howl that chilled Lily to the bone. The lights went out, drenching the room in darkness, and when they flickered back on, Flora was gone, but the weight of her presence lingered, a cold shadow over the room. Trembling and crying, Lily ran to her parents' room. She felt safe for the first time in several weeks by their arms. Wrapped together, they whispered soft lullabies to each other until they fell into exhausted sleep. The sun-filled room the next morning woke. Her parents thought that the horror was finally over just by the change in her. Still, Lily could hear the whispers in the corners of her mind, echoes of laughter that followed her like some sort of sinister shadow. Days went by, and the doll was not found, but it didn't seem to matter, for Flora had taken a death grip on her psyche. Her once so light-hearted and playful imaginary friends coloured themselves with the darker hues Flora painted. Lily drew shapes, foreboding and dark figures. Feelings of fear huddled within her, though not a word could she say about any of it. Then, one stormy night, curiosity led her back to the old tree. Lily stepped back and her breathing broke into an all-out run, but Flora's voice was the echo in her ears.
Embrace us, Lily. I am always with you.
Lily came back to home shaking, the understanding that while the doll was gone, the darkness would be inside her forever. In the dead stillness of night, while in bed, she shut her eyes and wrapped herself with the laughter of Flora, sending a shiver down her spine as to how far a girl can stray into the abyss of imagination before it swallows her up whole. It stood there, calmly observing, waiting, and whispering its secrets to anybody bold enough to approach that peculiar little town.